Hello and welcome back to JDA Football. Today I'm going to be doing something a bit different. I'm going to be going through every Premier League team and who I think they should sign in the summer. We're doing the first episode today, and the next episode should be out in the coming days, probably 5 or 6 days. So obviously we're going to be doing the first 10 Premier League teams today, down to Liverpool, starting at Arsenal obviously. And the next episode, if you're interested, just watch this one, and then it might be out now or when you're watching it, or you might be watching it early, so it won't be out for a few days. But we're going to be starting on Manchester City and moving down to Wolves, so yeah, hopefully we enjoy. So the first team we're going to be talking about is Arsenal, and it's not been a great season for Arsenal, obviously sacking Emery quite early on in the season. And the player I've gone for Arsenal to sign in the summer is Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Um, he's a 26-year-old defensive midfielder from Ghana. He's a very good player. We saw him in the Champions League against Liverpool, dominate the midfield, and obviously they went through. And I feel like it could be a very exciting signing if Arsenal were to pull this off, because obviously they've been lacking for a few seasons in the midfield. Obviously, they signed Lucas Torreira a few seasons ago, and he hasn't shone as much as expected. So hopefully, them signing someone like Thomas Partey could help their midfield tremendously. The next team we're going to look at is Aston Villa, and for them I have chosen Werder Bremen winger Milo Rashica. The 23-year-old winger from Kosovo had quite a good season last year, obviously keeping Werder Bremen up almost single-handedly and scoring a few goals in the process. But obviously with Aston Villa having a few wingers of their own, you might find it hard to get into the team. But I don't think Aston Villa's wingers have shown very well this season. Obviously they've got El Ghazi, who they brought in last season for quite a lot of money, and yeah, they've obviously got Grealish. He can play on the wing as well. So I feel like if they brought in Rashica and played Grealish on the wing as well as him, and maybe got another striker, then I feel like their attack force for next season, if they were in the Premier League, would be much better. The next one for me was a bit of a hard one because it is AFC Bournemouth, and they don't normally get linked with a lot of players. So it was quite a hard one to choose, but I have gone with West Brom centre back Ajayi. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. He's got a massive name, other than Semi being his first name, and he's just come off the back of a monstrous season for West Brom, keeping a load of clean sheets as he helped them not finish second, but at the moment they are second and pushing Leeds for the title. And I feel like if Bournemouth could keep Nathan Ake and maybe play Ajayi or how it's pronounced, next to him, then I feel like it would show up their defence massively. I'm not sure how much West Brom would want for him, but we've seen Bournemouth splash out a few times already on players like Billing, who they brought in at the start of last season. And I feel like if they were going to splash out one more time, I feel like Ajayi or a different centre-back would be the best option. The next team, again, was very hard for me to choose because it is Brighton, and they don't normally get linked with any massive players. Obviously, they don't really bring in that many players in transfer windows anyway. Obviously, they brought in Trossard at the start of last season, I think it was, and I really rated that signing. He's been very good for them so far. And the player I've gone with is Wesley from Aston Villa. Obviously, Aston Villa have signed a new striker in Samatta, and I feel like Wesley could be out of Villa quite soon. And I think if Brighton signed a world-class player such as Wesley, because we know he is world-class, and obviously only being 23 as well, I feel like it could really benefit them going forward, and I feel like a goal-scoring striker like Wesley is what they've been missing. It just depends how much Villa want for him, and I don't think Brighton are prepared to break the bank for someone like him. team we go on to is Burnley, and again, this was a very hard decision for me. I felt like I had to pick a Championship player because you don't normally see Burnley shopping anywhere but the Championship. So I've gone for Derby right back, Jayden Bogle. He's 19 years old, plays for the England under-20s. I watched him play when Derby first signed Wayne Rooney, and I really liked him. He's very quick on the ball and knows how to find a pass as well. And I feel like if Burnley could sign him, they'd add some pace to their defence, which I feel like they're really lacking at the moment. And obviously with two world-class centre-backs, Ben Mee and James Tarkowski behind him, I feel like it'd really show up their centre-backs and their defence. So I feel like that'd be the best signing for them in the summer. The next team we go on to is quite a controversial one, to be fair. It's Chelsea, and for them I've gone for none other than Jadon Sancho. Although I can't really see this happening, I feel like a player like Jadon Sancho is the only thing that's going to propel Chelsea forward as a club. Obviously, they could be losing Willian. They might be losing Pedro. They've already lost one of the best wingers in the world in Eden Hazard. And I feel like Jadon Sancho would be the only thing that would help Chelsea propel as a football club. And yeah, I don't see any reason why they couldn't sign him. They've got enough money in Abramovich, and hopefully they can get Champions League football and maybe propel him towards the club. So yeah, moving swiftly on to another hard decision for me. It was Crystal Palace, and for them I've gone for Rangers striker Alfredo Morelos. He's Colombian. He's 23 years old. He has experience in the Europa League with Rangers, and certainly knows where the goal is. And I feel like a striker is what Crystal Palace have been missing for a couple of years now. Obviously, they brought in Benteke for big money, and he hasn't really done anything. They've got Zaha, who can maybe play as a striker, but he hasn't got that finishing ability that some of these strikers do have. They brought Cenk Tosun in on loan in the middle of last season, and he played one game, scored a goal, and got injured, so it wasn't the best signing. But hopefully, them signing someone like Alfredo Morelos could help Crystal Palace score a few more goals, because they've got a good infrastructure, some young players, some older players, some more mature players, and I feel like a strike is one of the big things they're missing in order to secure themselves as a Premier League club. Next, we have my club, Everton, and for them I've gone for Jack Grealish. I probably can't see this happening, but if there's any player we need at the moment, it's Jack Grealish. We need an attacking midfielder who is also creative to help our strikers score a few more goals. Not that they need to anyway. But yeah, Jack Grealish was one of the only players I could think of us getting, because obviously Gylfi Sigurdsson isn't at the level he used to be at. And Jack Grealish, with him only being 24 and obviously an English player, he should be quite a bit more expensive. Obviously Everton get linked with a lot of players, but not many of them go through, so I'm going to stick with Jack Grealish, but I can't really see it happening. The second to last team in this episode is going to be Leicester, and for them I've gone for quite controversial one in Felipe Coutinho. We've seen this season that Leicester can still challenge for titles. They've got the quality in their squad to keep challenging, a good young infrastructure, and I feel like one world-class player such as Felipe Coutinho is what's eluding them from being able to win another trophy. So yeah, I feel if they can get Felipe Coutinho in, it's one step closer to pushing for some titles, because Leicester have got a brilliant squad already, obviously with some world-class players like Ndidi, Vardy, Maddison, Soyuncu, and probably one more in Felipe Coutinho could really help their push on Man City and Liverpool. Speaking of Liverpool, the last team in this list for part 1 is going to be the soon-to-be champions. For them, I've gone for Timo Werner. I feel like there's not many players in the world that could make Liverpool squad any better, but I feel like if they were missing one player, it's a lethal young striker, and I think Timo Werner is probably the best in the world other than Mbappe to fit that category. Um, he'll probably be the best striker in the world in a few years, and if he was going to want to show himself on the world stage, come to the Premier League, and there's probably no better team than Liverpool at the moment to show yourself out at. So yeah, Timo Werner for Liverpool. So thank you for watching the first episode of who I think Premier League teams should sign in the summer. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. If you turn notifications on, you'll be able to watch my next video, which should be out in the coming days. Obviously the second episode of this one, going through all the rest of the Premier League teams and who I think they should sign. So yeah, make sure you follow all of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and we also have made a TikTok. Here's a highlight. Some great stuff there, so hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you all for the next episode.